Well, first of all, welcome and thank you for coming by to chat with us
My
about
pleasure.
Rust and Bone. But first, before we get to that, I want to talk about a little experience you had last year at some Oscars, some Oscars,
Oscars?
Yeah, something about this film
Yeah.
Bullhead that you were in that kind of got nominated for one of
Yeah.
the best foreign films. Seriously, dude, what were you thinking when you guys got the news for that? That's huge.
Yeah, we were kind of overwhelmed. We were kind of extremely surprised by it. Yeah, it's yeah. What can you say? It's just you're like, what? Who's pulling our leg? Who's pulling a prank? That's what it feels like. You're not. Nah, this is just a joke. This is all set up. And then no, apparently it was real. So yeah, that was that
But
was a
you
nice
worked
ride.
hard. You worked really hard for that role. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
role that I would think changed your life.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it did. But yeah, ever since Michael spoke about the project 6 years ago, I was completely drawn to it. And I fell in love with it, and way more than I even was aware of. And so I started working right away, even before knowing that we would ever make the film,
Yeah.
because there was no money back then, um, and so yeah, 6 years later, there you go. Film is made, and all of a sudden you're Oscar nominated. You go like, this is crazy.
Did you learn a lot about, I guess, dealing with media, dealing with, because you got a lot of attention for that. So
Yeah.
having that kind of experience, did it help you with, moving on for now all these projects that you're getting?
Yeah, I think so. I think every experience makes you wiser. I don't know if it's wiser, but makes you something. So yeah, of course.
Yeah. Rust and Bone, wow, what an amazing, another, great performance and a really, really touching, amazing story. And, what was it about the script first when you saw it? Because there's so much to this character, Ali, that you play. Why did you want to play him so badly?
Well, for several reasons. First of all, I read the script and I loved the intensity of the story, and then of course the fact that Jacques Audiard was directing it, to me was like, that was for me like the real reason to wanting to do it, because the story, you can go at it in so many ways. If you can screw it up badly, because it's very sensitive. If you make the wrong choices, you end up with a completely pathetic story. And the fact that Jacques was directing it, that convinced me that it was, that was going to be a powerful film. And then why did the character attract me is because it was a very difficult character when I read it, because it was hard to define. And so when it's hard to define, it's hard to make choices, and it's hard do you portray such a guy, and how do you make him somewhat likable? Because I don't think every character should be likable at all. I don't think that's necessary. But there should be something about him that makes you root for him, that makes you, and so he's a very ambiguous character, and that's always interesting. And he has a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of drama in his life, and the fact that he's not self-conscious about it makes it interesting as well, because you can have a character that has a lot of drama in his life and is self-aware about it, and creates more drama because of that. But here we have a character being confronted with a lot of drama and just cycling over it and just living over it, and that's a very interesting way to deal with it.
And, having Marion Cotillard as your co-star, that's
Absolutely.
really not shabby.
No, absolutely. No, of course. I almost forgot. Of course, no, it's wonderful too, of course.
I'm teasing you.
No, but it's true. It's just amazing to have the opportunity to shoot with Marion. So when I heard it, I was like, wow, I'm going to shoot with Jacques Audiard, one of my favorite directors. And I'm going to have a co-star, which is Marion Cotillard, who is an amazing actress.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what's there not to be excited about?
When did you
And
know?
at the same time, what's there not to be scared about? I was
No.
like, oh my God, these two, they're going to eat me alive. So I got to be ready. I got to prepare myself. I got to be on top of the... Of course, you got to be on top every time,
Yeah.
but
Bring your real A game.
the pressure was on. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
tell. I was like, feel.
And working with her, when you do a movie, especially with a female, how do you know the chemistry's there? How do you know it's going to work?
That's something you don't know. That's something that happens or it doesn't happen. And so that's always a wild guess. And it was really nice because we didn't have a lot of preparation together because she was shooting The Dark Knight. So she was spending a lot of time in the States. Jacques was concerned about it because he really likes to work with his actors way before he starts shooting because he wants to have this, he wants to have a bond before you start shooting. And so that was quite disturbing for him in the beginning. But then again, we were like, okay, let's treat it as a virtue instead of a problem. And let's work with it. And then first day on set, she showed up, first take, and right away we were like, okay, wow, she's ready, she's hungry, and we're gonna kill it.
Do you have a problem with, are you self-conscious about your body?
The what?
Are you self-conscious about your body doing nudity on screen? Is that something that scares you?
No, of course there's an awareness about it. It's not that it doesn't scare me. It's not that it makes me happy either. It's not that I'm like, oh, okay, I can be naked on screen. I don't care. If it's right, it's right. But as long as it's not, it has to be right. That's it, basically.
Absolutely, not gratuitous or anything. Because I mean, it works. It's, just have to ask you, of course,
Yeah, of course.
Now, there's a little boy in this film that plays your son, and there's some rough stuff going on there. How do you put a little boy at ease when you're doing stuff like that? I know it's movies, but you're still working with a kid.
Well, it was a kid, and it was also a very particular kid, very specific, very hard background, very special character, a small rebel, could be a pain in the ass, and was a pain in the ass sometimes, but he was so adorable. I fell in love with him from the very first rehearsal, a couple of months before we started shooting. That little fella, I was like, oh, come here. I really wanted to take care of him. And so we had a lot of fun on set, and he could deal with a lot of stuff. He wasn't shocked by scenes where sometimes he got a little brutal or something. He wasn't shocked by it. And that in itself is shocking because you go like, okay, what is this kid used to if he's not shocked by this? So that was quite disturbing at times to be aware of that. But yeah, he could really, after a certain time, he really realized what he was doing on set and how it worked. And so he let himself go in a scene, and then 2 minutes after that, he shifts and cuts and yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard working with kids
absolutely.
sometimes.
But I had a really good bond with him. I really loved the kid, and I think the kid loved me as well. We had a lot of fun. We made a lot of jokes, and it was a very effective. I mean, there was a lot of tenderness going on.
Yeah, you do some fighting in this too. Is that something that you had to prepare a lot for?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What was that like?
Yeah, rehearsing 5 to 6 times a week, 2 hours a day, because we had to be really precise, and you have to be confident. You want to make sure that you can go at it while you shoot. And because, while you're shooting, you're always giving a lot more than when you rehearse because you get excited, you have the adrenaline going. And that's where you have to be really precise and secure. And if you're not well prepared, then you're in for some accidents. And with these guys in front of me, of course, they were professional fighters, so I wasn't scared of that. But at the same time, these guys were big and strong. I was like, oh my goodness, they're gonna chop my head off. So
no accidents, I hope.
I better be ready. No accidents.
Good.
Not one.
Wow.
Not one.
Yeah, that's rough stuff. I can't.
Stunt
It's hard to
coordinators-
watch.
Yeah, the stunt coordinators were they were obsessed with security.
Of course.
We're like, okay, we got to make sure nothing happens.
Yeah. I'm sure scripts have been coming your way big time, especially since Bullhead. And I know we're going to see you in some North American things coming up. But one movie that I want to ask you about is Blood Ties, because it's being was directed by Guillaume Canet, who's of course married to Marion's husband. And I met him last year at the festival. Oh my God, I fell in love with that guy. He's wonderful. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about that film and what it was like to work on that one?
Had a lot of fun with Guillaume. He's such a sharp spirit, good energy, positive atmosphere. He's just, he's a lovable guy to work with, and intelligent, and very talented as a director. So he called me up, I think, after the Cannes Film Festival, and he said, I saw Bullhead, and I want you to be in my film. I don't know. Just read the script, and okay, I tell you, these parts are taken, and these are the parts that are not taken yet. If you want to do it, just tell me which part you want to do. I want you to be in my film. I was like, you don't even know if I speak English. I don't care. You're going to make it happen. You have to be in my film. And he called me like 4 times a day almost. And that was so sweet. I was so touched because I was like, I'm nobody to this guy. No, of course, okay, he saw Bullhead and he liked it, and I was really honored that he was putting so much effort into it. And then I read the script and I saw a part that really interested me. And so I started reading it and I had some ideas, and then I called him. I said, yeah, Guillaume, I'd like to do this part, but maybe, what do you think if we add this or change that? And he was open to it. He was like really responsive. And so, yeah, and so it happened very organically and naturally. So
It's his first English language film, isn't it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary, I think, for somebody, a French director or something, to go that route. And who else is in it? There's Marion, of course.
There's Marion. Then we have Zoe Saldana, who plays my wife. Lovely actress. Mila Kunis, I think. Clive Owen. Billy Crudup. Yeah, it's a nice bunch.
Really
James
awesome.
Caan, of course.
Great cast. Wow.
Yeah, it's a
Look
nice bunch.
forward to that.
Yeah.
Maybe next year's film festival, hopefully. I don't know.
Who knows?
Very quickly, The Loft. Are you in that with Carl Urban?
Yes.
Just talked to him about
really?
half an hour ago. He's just on the
Okay.
floor running around. You might bump into him.
Okay.
His movie is premiering tonight. He's in
Judge Dredd.
Dredd. Yeah,
Wow.
Dredd 3D. Really fun. But did you work a lot with him in The Loft?
Yeah.
Tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that one, very quickly.
Well, it's a remake of a Belgian film, which we've shot in 2007 or 8. I don't know. I lost track of time. And then we shot the remake like last year in New Orleans. That was with Carl Urban and Eric Stonestreet from Modern Family, James Marsden and Wentworth Miller. No, we had a lot of fun. That was yeah, it's fun to play a same part twice in another language, but that was a good experience, and I had a lot of fun with Carl. He's a really fun guy to work with. And so we were very curious to see the film because none of us has seen the film so far.
I'll look forward to that for
So,
sure. My last question, I just have to ask you, is there a movie or an actor that you saw growing up or whatever, as a kid, whatever, that made you decide that that's why you wanted to become an actor?
To be honest, it's not an actor that made me want to become an actor. Or maybe, probably my dad influenced me a lot just by being who he was. He never influenced me in the sense that he wanted me to become an actor. I think he wouldn't have wanted me to become an actor. But he was an actor himself in Belgium, a theater actor mostly. But yeah, somehow mythical actor. And so I spent a lot of time as a kid in the theater. And that must have influenced me on an enormous level. And so obviously he was an influence. And but it's just people in general and the crazy lives of people that inspire me and that make me want to tell the stories about them, and that's what inspired me. And of course, there's a lot of actors that I admire and that from whom I love their work. Of course, obviously, you got Marcello Mastroianni, you got Jean Gabin, you got Marlon Brando, Daniel Day-Lewis. I could go on and on. It sounds so silly if you do this name dropping stuff.
Well, we're going to be name dropping your name because you're fantastic. You really
Well,
are. And we
that's
do
a-
appreciate you coming in. We just have a little gift that we want to give you. This
Oh, wow!
suitcase filled with goodies, and enjoy it.
Fantastic.
And thank you so much for coming by. We really appreciate your time here.
My pleasure.
Good luck with the
Really.
film.
Thank you very much.